Hello, mamas, from snowy, cold Canada. That is right, I am home. I am back in igloo land. I'm back where the mooses run free, and I am freezing my balls off. Hello. This was going to be a Christmas episode, but I fucking hate Christmas specials. You ever tried watching, like, The Office in June, and they throw in, like, a Halloween episode or a Christmas episode? It's painful. And if you're watching this in June 2023, I don't want to do that to you. I'm not going to do that to you. And also, I'm, like, the least festive person alive, so I don't really care. And we're going to talk about something else today, and that is travel. As I mentioned, I'm back home, finally. If you follow this podcast or you follow me online, you may have noticed that I've been kind of like Mr. Worldwide, like Pitbull found dead in a fucking ditch, because I have been everywhere. I've been jet setting, and I like to talk about my travels. I like to talk about how you can travel too, because there's few things I'm a pro at, but at this point, I am a pro at hopping the border, baby. I'm a pro at being Miss International, and it's really not as hard as a lot of people think it is, and I hope to give you some tips and some tricks on how you can have your fantasy international vacation fiesta. And we'll get right after that. We'll get right into that after this quick break. All right, y'all. It's sick season. Everyone around us is sick. Everyone is germy and grubby, which is especially nasty when everyone's getting together for the holidays. But just in case we get more sick and you need a doctor, it's important to have a good one, okay? I used to have a doctor that literally didn't even have, like, a phone number or a website. He just had an email address, like a Yahoo email address that you would email to talk to him, and he literally wouldn't even reply half the time. I was like, hey, like, I have a spot, and I'm scared, and he was like, crickets. So, thankfully, I use ZocDoc now, which is this amazing free app that shows you doctors who are patient-reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them, okay? You wouldn't just, like, trust your body, your health, your literal life up to anyone. It's important to have a good one. And get this. Every month, millions of people use ZocDoc. It's an amazing go-to to find and book a quality doctor. And you can go to ZocDoc.com/mama and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then start your search for a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/mama. ZocDoc.com/mama. Please stay healthy. Please make sure you have a doctor. Just in case. And let's continue with this episode. Hello. So, let me run it down, like, where I've been the past month and a half, and also why, okay? Basically, for reasons that I still can't really get into and don't really want to talk about, I basically wanted to leave / needed to leave the countries of Canada and the United States. And so I did that. And the first place I went was South Korea / kind of north. I've always been okay, so I planned on just, like, escaping for a good month. That was kind of the minimum that I set in my head, and I ended up staying longer away from North America. So the first place I knew I wanted to go to South Korea, and I knew I wanted to go to Japan, because these were two places that I've really been dying to go to, and now a lot of the COVID restrictions have been lifted, so it was possible to go. So first I went to South Korea with the pretty much main goal of making a video going to North Korea. And as proud as I am of how the video ended up turning out, like the whole video of me going to the border of North Korea, I had plans to actually go into North Korea. At first, I was looking into tours that went to Beijing and then flew from Beijing into Pyongyang, but they do extensive background checks, and y'all know me, I'm a goofy, silly motherfucker, so the chances of me, like, dying were very, very high, so that fell through. Then, next up was, they do tours on the North Korean border where you can you can cross the border of North Korea and be in North Korea for a brief period. Those were closed due to COVID. So what ended up happening was I just ended up going to the border. I still was happy with how it turned out, and it was a very cool experience all around. But overall in South Korea, didn't do shit, y'all. I truly didn't do shit. I went there, filmed my thing, edited for like 4 days, and then like left. I was supposed to stay for 2 weeks actually, but how do I say this without like getting people mad at me? I didn't like it there. I'm so sorry, but I didn't have a good time there. Um, there's just a lot of things that wasn't my cup of tea, and I'll leave it at that. But the place I went to next was Japan. So I ended my trip a week early. I changed my flight and ended up leaving a week early, and I went straight to Tokyo. And y'all, I've never been like happier. Like I loved Japan. I fucking loved it so much. Like words can't even describe. If y'all know, I was a Japanese exchange student for like a little quick tiny minute when I was 15, and I haven't been back since. So I went there. I got to see some friends. I got to catch up with my host family that hosted me when I was there. It was so fun. It was truly so fun. And when I was in South Korea, it was like very much like like a content trip. I was like, I'm here to film one thing and cross the border to North Korea. And I did it. But Japan, I had no plans, truly. Which is why, like, some of the videos I made when I was in Japan, I'm not the most proud of, okay? They could have been better. I'm gonna be so fucking real with y'all. Like, it was, like, filming in, like, my hotel room. I didn't have a lot of my equipment. It was kind of hard to make a lot of stuff. So, some of the videos that I posted while I was there, I wasn't the proudest of. Which, I'm back now, so not a problem anymore. And I also learned that, like, as much as I am so privileged to be able to, like, work from wherever, there still is, like, certain challenges that come with filming stuff that isn't, like, in your home. So I'm prepared for, like, next time I go traveling. But anyways, blah, 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 blah. Shut the fuck up. I was going to spend 2 weeks there, and I just fell in love with it so much that it kept extending my trip and ended up staying about a month and a half, I think. No, that's a lie. A month and a week. Then afterwards, I was going to go back home to Canada for the holidays, and I was going to, like, leave it at that. I was like, okay, I'm done. Then I get nominated for a damn streamy award. So, I was, like, done with LA for, like, the year. I was like, I don't need to go back there. I'm done with that place. I don't want to step foot in there until, like, at least 2023. But then I got nominated for Streamies, so I came back for the Streamies. I brought my mom. It was a hoot and a holler. And then after that, I went to Virginia. And then after that, I went to New York. And I got back 2 days ago. And now I'm home. So first, I want to, like, just obviously acknowledge, like, the elephant in the room that, like, that is very, like, unnatural, and I'm very lucky to be able to, like, travel that much. Like, and I know I'm, like, saying, like, oh, I was just all these places, it was so busy. I don't want that to, like, come off as, like, oh, my life is so hard. Meh. Like, no, traveling is the easiest fucking thing ever. Like, bitch, you sit in a chair, and a plane takes you from one fun place to another, or one maybe shitty place to a fun place. So I don't want it to come across as, like, it's so hard being so global. No, like, I'm incredibly lucky to be able to have a profession where I can do that and do it sustainably. And I'm so, like truly, that's one of the best parts of, like, making YouTube videos for a living, is being able to just go places. Like, back when I worked at Bubba Gump, it was so kind of disheartening to, like, really try and find time to travel, because like, you can just get called in at certain jobs that you can just get called in, and your schedule might be tight, so it's, like, hard to ask for time off. And even when you do ask for time off, your boss could fucking hate you like mine did, and you might not be able to get time off to go travel. So I want to talk about how you can travel. Like, I've been pretty much, like, just bouncing like a fucking bouncy ball around the world for the past 3 years now, and I have picked up a lot of ways that you can do this, like, sustainably and as cheaply as possible. So the main thing that I will tell you to travel, like, on a budget is planning ahead, okay? And I don't mean, like, a month in advance. I mean, like, if you really want, like, some of the cheapest flights ever that you will find, you're gonna book that shit 3 months in advance. And it can be very hard to, like, say you have school, or say you have work. like getting time away from that can be so difficult. So you want to like look for a time when you're guaranteed to have time off. Like for example, if you're in school, like university or something, like finding when you have breaks. And then also if you work somewhere, asking well in advance your manager or whoever that you want to break. And most of the time, like if you're asking like early enough in advance, they're gonna say yes because like they can keep it in mind when they make the schedules. If you really have like a real butthole of a boss, like it might be a little bit more difficult. Um, but hopefully you have a chill, fun, nice boss at your job. So that's the main thing you need to do. You need to like secure the block of time where you can play and have fun. Then the second thing you need to do is start planning things like booking a hotel and a flight. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people will think that like the flight is the most expensive thing on a trip, which sometimes may be the case. But what really racks up is where you're going to stay, okay? Hotels and Airbnbs have gotten so crazy expensive. Like Airbnbs have a billion fees for no reason. Like you can stay at a place of like $60 a night and you get there and it's like cleaning fees and everything and it's like $250 and it's a bonkers. So there's a few solutions to this, which isn't necessarily available everywhere. It's mostly in bigger cities, but you can stay at hostels where it's incredibly cheap. The one downside might be an upside if you're a freaking psychopath, is you usually stay with other people. It's like a dorm room. And these can be incredibly cheap. These can be like $20 a night, which is so doable that is probably cheaper than like some people's rent back where they live. So a hostel is, which by the way, they need to like change the fucking name. Like hostel sounds so aggressive. Like it sounds like you're like a hostile enemy. They need to like change this to like Funland. Like I'm gonna stay to Funland, and then I think a lot more people would stay there. But also, let me just address the elephant in the room. If you're watching this, my hair is so fucking long, and I don't understand how. Okay, I do kind of understand how it got this bad. So like, my hair is typically curly, as you might know, and I recently did a photo shoot where they straightened my fucking hair, and I like never really like agreed to it. It was kind of weird. Like I like didn't agree for them to straighten my hair, but 1 second I was just sitting in this chair and then boom, they have the hair straightener iron like cooking the fuck out of my hair like it's a piece of like it's a french fry in the McDonald's fryers. And you know, y'all will see those pictures eventually. Me with straight hair is actually like the most frightening thing you'll ever see in life, but my hair like never really recovered. It's so like straight still. So that's why it looks like that. No comments about it, please. I'm still very insecure about it. Anyways, let's continue. So once you have your room, you will want to get your flight. And your flight, actually no, that's so backwards. Get your flight first and then your hotel room. Hostel room, whichever you want to get. For your flight, there's all sorts of apps that will like monitor like patterns on pricing. It truly is so stupid that flights don't just cost the same price. Like you could be sitting next to someone that paid like $100 for a flight, and you could have paid $1,000 for a flight. It's so bonkers. But the best way to get around that, and the best way to get like the cheapest flights, this isn't sponsor or anything, but there's all these apps. I think one that I used to use is called Hopper, and it like scans when flights will be the cheapest, and then you can book them. When it will be the cheapest. And it's not always necessarily like the earliest you book will be the cheapest. That's not always the case. Sometimes it'll start high and then go down and then go up, and sometimes even go down right before the flight. But the best way to know is like to get an app like that figures it out for you, because it's fucking math and that's difficult. So then the next thing you want to do, if it's a hostel, you probably won't have, say, like a kitchen or something. But another thing that adds up real fucking fast is food, okay? Obviously, if you're traveling, you know, you want to like taste the cuisine and the culture of the area, but eating at restaurants every single day will add up so fast, baby mamas. Like your meals for the day could end up costing more than your hotel room, and that's when it's a problem. So one thing you can do to like really cut the cost on that level is buying groceries. And I know that might sound miserable, like
I am in Paris, France. I am going to taste all the amazing French food.
But then you like walk into like grocerystore.com and like you're eating like fucking grapes. Like it might sound dumb, but truly I enjoy like eating the groceries of the different countries I travel to almost more than like trying out the restaurants, because you can find so many things that don't exist with like in your home country, like assuming you live in like a Western country, which can be so exciting. Like you get to try so many different snacks, like almost everything in the grocery store is different. And that's like not even just snacks and stuff, like different types of like fruit, vegetables. You will be eating shit that you didn't even know existed, that you didn't even know like grew on planet Earth. Like your ass might as well be in Pandora from like the Avatar movies, and you're eating like goobly got fruits. It's crazy. It's so fun. Not to mention, it's like I'm getting a mysterious phone call. Not answering. Not to mention, it's cheap and delicious. And something about like fruits in America and Canada, they make those shits taste like you're biting into styrofoam. Like, tell me why the produce in North America is actually horrible, but not in other countries. So definitely try that out. And those are like the main ways that you can like really save money while traveling. There's some other things you can do, like depending on what country you travel to, they'll usually have like super cheap like kind of travel passes for tourists. Like I know Japan has this like JR Rail thing where I think it's like $200, and I think it's for a month, and you have like unlimited. Oh my gosh, sorry, that's a hiccup. Oh, I almost threw up there. You get like unlimited train access, which adds up very fast. Like I think when I was there for a month, I didn't have that, and I ended up spending like probably like $300 on trains. So but definitely try and find like the cheapest kind of rail or like public transit pass you can get, and that will take you so far. So those are my quick tips. After this quick break, I'll get into how travel affected me and how it changed me. Right after this quick break. So, on the topic of travel, one quick little tip also is if you're going somewhere where you need like travel vaccinations, for example, I went to Bali, you're going to need to get those from a doctor. And unless you want rabies, unless like rabies is like your cup of tea and you like really want to just like foam at the mouth and like ignore this. But it's very important to get your travel immunizations, and finding a doctor that does that can be really good. Because, for example, I'm scared of needles horrifically, so it's very important to me to get a doctor that isn't going to laugh when I cry like a baby, which I did when I got my rabies vaccination. So it was fine because my doctor's good because I found them on ZocDoc. Okay? ZocDoc is a free app that shows you doctors who are patient reviewed, take your insurance, and are available when you need them. You can find and review local doctors, read verified patient reviews from real people who made real appointments. So when you walk into that doctor's office, you're all set to see someone in your network who gets you. You can go to ZocDoc.com/mama and download the ZocDoc app for free. Then start your search for a top-rated doctor today. Many are available within 24 hours. That's ZocDoc.com/mama, ZocDoc.com/mama. Please stay healthy. I love you and care about you. Let's continue. All right. So now that you know how to travel, which I hope that helped, obviously there's a lot more to it, and there's other things you need to consider, like being safe. Please check like your local your local country's like travel advisories, because it's a lot of bitches just backpacking to like countries that are not necessarily safe, and then they get kidnapped or human trafficked. So let's not do that. Let's be safe, mamas. And also, if it's your first time traveling, I highly recommend going to like Europe or something as like a primer before you like get into the real nitty gritty. I haven't really traveled anywhere like that's outside my comfort zone. I mean, like North Korea was like a little bit, but it was very much safe the way I did it. So basically prime yourself, because it would be a very big shock to go straight from like, say, your sheltered little life in like North America to a country that might not have the resources that you are used to and might be a little dangerous. Not saying you shouldn't travel out and go to places that no one's really going to. Like, I plan to do that, but I just needed to like warm up to it, you know? So with that all being said, I guess I'll kind of talk about like why I traveled for so long, okay? So I'm gonna sound so hypocritical when I say this, but you know, I'm kind of a little bit sick of LA. And then that's what every fucking YouTuber says, every TikToker, like, LA is so toxic. Let me like really like clearly say, like, there's nothing wrong with LA as a city. There's nothing wrong with people from LA. It is truly just, well, okay, there's a few things wrong with it. One of the main qualms I have with LA is like, it is so hard to get around, and I don't have a car there, so that leaves nothing. That leaves my bike, and that's it. And my bike, I had so many flat tires this summer, mamas. Like, literally, my tire went flat on my bike from like nails and glass like 4 different times. I had to walk that shit over to the bike shop, which is like a 2-hour walk when you're holding your bike, and it was terrible. But I love biking, but it's like beyond that, like, just being in a city that's so car focused and so car centric can be so draining. Like, there's something to be said about being in a place like New York or Tokyo where you want to go somewhere, you can hop on a train and you're there and it costs $2. That's beautiful and that is genius, okay? That's how it should be. But that's not the case in LA. You have to worry about traffic. You have to worry about, and it's not just like the cars themselves. It's like the problems cars create, like obviously traffic, but then like the fact that smog is just always in the air, and I used to never like really like smell the smog or have it like affect my lungs, but recently, bro, I'd be like waking up in LA and I'm like so not a fan of that. And you know, this next part's partially my fault, but obviously I'm kind of surrounded by like circles of influencers. And when I first started social media, when I first started coming to LA, I really loved like kind of the influencer scene. There's all these spots where you would go, and it was such a tight-knit community. Like, everyone knew everyone. In like early 2019, just because that's how TikTok was. And I think that's even how like people who watch TikTok were. Like, you could go on TikTok and like kind of see the same people for better or for worse, but it wasn't as personalized and as niche as it is now. Like, you pretty much knew all the kind of like people who were like posting videos on TikTok, and everyone who was posting videos on TikTok knew each other, and it was a very fun community. And it's changed so much since then, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's good that there's like so many different people now, and it's so much bigger and so many different sides to TikTok. I think that's great. But it's like the cute little family that once existed is very much like dissolved. And I felt almost like I was holding on to this memory of like how fun LA could be when you could go to like these parties and just like see all these people that you were like, I want to say acquaintances, but that makes it sound like kind of negative. It was like fun to see these people that you weren't really friends with, but like you could have like a fun time with. So that's very much gone. And I still have friends in LA, but it's sort of like, I don't know. It's everyone. It's so much more business focused too now. That's another thing. The focus used to literally be to be silly and to play and have fun, and now it's like every party is like sponsored, and every party like they want you to post like a story swipe up promoting it. Even fucking birthday parties, like you'll go to someone's birthday party and they'll be like,
Sponsored by Baked by Melissa Cupcakes. Make sure to post a picture and tag.
it's like, y'all aren't fucking real. So like that could be a whole other episode. Like, I'm just getting very tired and like disenfranchised with the whole influencer scene. But that's besides the point. Basically, long story short, the circles that I was in within LA, I was just kind of tired of, and I really was looking for like something fresh and something that was so different than what I was like living in. And you know, you have to be like really careful when you travel because of that. It wasn't necessarily that I was running away from like LA, because I still have a lot of love for it, and there's a lot of things I really love and miss about it. But you really have to be careful when you're traveling because you're escaping something, because you might create this like ideal version of the place you're traveling to in your head, and you might think that it'll solve all your problems by traveling there, and it very well might. In my case, it solved a lot of fucking problems. But if you get too deep into planning this, or just like kind of fantasizing about what your trip is going to be like, it's obviously not going to be exactly how you think. If not, could be very far off from what you think it's going to be like. and that can lead to a lot of disappointment. There's an actual term called, I think, Paris syndrome, where it's tourists will go to Paris and have this like beautiful romanticized view of it, and then they pull up and it's not at all. I don't want to shit on Paris, but it's like not at all as luxurious and glamorous as people think it is, and they literally get like nauseous because it's like such a letdown. So, not saying you shouldn't go to Paris. I think it has a lot of good things to offer. You just need to, get your expectations in order. So, so when I went to when I went to Asia, I didn't really have honestly like that much and any expectations. I tried to go there as open-minded as possible. I obviously kind of like had a few things planned, but I really just pulled up like with fucking vibes, baby. Like that was it. So I got there and it was like the best time of my life, truly. It was the reset that I like genuinely needed, and I think that's one of the best things that travel can give you is like a reset from all the prior conventions you have in your head of like daily life. My life when I was in Japan was so different than how it was when I'm in North America, like in so many different ways that it's so hard to describe. Like everything from getting around to what I was eating to like not hearing English for a long period of time is cleansing, like genuinely cleansing. It's nice to be in a country where there's social fabric, where people care about each other, where there's common decency. Like that shit you just don't really see that often in North America, especially the United States. So it was so refreshing to be in a place where where you feel safe. That's another thing. Like sometimes I'll just be walking through a mall in the United States and I'll be like, I'm a little on edge. I'm a little on edge here. I'll hear like a loud bang in the streets. I'm like, what was that? Whereas I'm in Japan and I'm walking around in the streets at 4 a.m. and I feel completely safe. And I'm not saying that like you should live in fear if you live in North America, but there's something to be said about like being in a place where it is safe. Like it's a fact that it's safe and you truly have like nothing to worry about. Like they have like so few murders a year. And I'm not trying to like idealize Japan as this perfect place. Like I fully recognize that it has like tons of problems. But that being said, it has a lot less fucking problems than North America. So it's very nice to be in a society that's like that. I did run into a few problems being in Japan. There's like some things that I like needed to be in Canada for, like specifically I had to go to a bank, like a physical fucking bank, to do this one thing, and I like called my bank. I was like, hey, like my ass is in Japan, like I need, like, can I please like just do this over the phone? They're like, no, you have to come to a branch. So like there's the occasional thing where like it becomes a little hard to stay far away for a long period of time, but all of those things are like very minor in, I think, the grand scheme of things. So a lot of the ways that I was like feeling a lot, like truly a lot of the things that were like bringing me down, I got clarity about when I went to Japan, and I realized how much it was like rooted in like my surroundings and my location. So like I get very sad during the winter time. That it's just depressing when the sun like rises at 9 a.m. and sets at like 4 p.m. and you get like 7 hours of sun and it's like minus 40 degrees. Like that shit is actually spiritually draining. So obviously things like that, like being somewhere where it's warmer, is very nice on the mood. And then some other things like like just not being around the same toxic people that you might be around. It's not necessarily toxic people, it's like more like a toxic culture that I was kind of around in LA, and I'm referring specifically to like influencer culture. I just really was sick of it and like wanted a break. So to recollect my train of thought that is fully derailed. In Japan, I was able to reset myself. I was able to almost live this like new life, even though it's for a limited period of time. I am going back though very soon. Let me just put that out there. I will be going back. I was able to like fully reset, and it was so nice. And so when I ended up coming back to LA for the Streamies and New York, I had this almost like new outlook on life that gave me so much clarity in what was making me upset and what was making me feel down when I was in LA and New York. And knowing these things, knowing like these, I don't want to say triggers, but like knowing like all the things that I realized could be so much better in other places, I now avoid them when I'm in LA and in New York. Like whether it's like type of people or not like not like let me rephrase that. Not type of people, like a type of personality. Not like we're not getting into that. So that's at the end of the day, that's like the best thing that travel can give you is a more clear sense of what you want and what you don't want. And it sounds weird that like you might have to travel to Asia to do that, or you might have to travel to Turkey or God knows where, but having a break from your ordinary routine and having a break from all the conventions of your lifestyle is so helpful. Genuinely, it fixes more things than you think it would. So I'm home now. We'll be going back to Japan soon, and I'm very, very excited. I fell in love there, and I'm so happy. So, with that all being said, I hope you guys have a great holidays. Merry everything. Merry fucking everything. TBH. And I will see y'all next Wednesday after Christmas. Right before the New Year, okay? Love y'all so much. Gun of the week. It's